start with a word of prayer, please. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for these families, these parents, these students that have taken the time this evening to come in and to be informed about what we're doing. And Father, I just pray that your spirit and your presence will be with us. You will be with families as they enter. And as we plan for this school year, Father, we just pray for your continued presence, especially since it's just such an unusual year. It ended unusually last year and we're starting out with the distance learning, but Father, we still can have a great year. And so Lord, I just pray for you to be with us and thank you for all of that in the name of Jesus. Amen. All right, I'm going to share my screen with you all and we're going to look at a presentation that I have and oops, I'm on the wrong slide. Hold on, let me go back. Apologize for that. I forgot that I was in the middle of it. All right, this is our back to school night. We have talked already about just what coming back for a hybrid system would look like. But right now, tonight, what I want to talk to you about is just what to expect with while we're here with the distance learning. We want to go into the grading, how we are going to be doing grading this year, talk about standards-based grading. I know that if you are a returning junior high family, you're familiar with that. But if you are not, then I'm going to explain it, and we're going to be adding more this year. So I just want to make you aware of what we're doing and how this will work. First of all, I want to talk about the 100-point scale. We all have lived with this, and this has just been our normal for school. But we need to understand that it was designed to sort students. In the Industrial Revolution, the whole point of the 100-point scale was to determine who would be able to work in a factory, sit in a row, do what they were told to do when they were told to do it. And you have the majority of people would fall in that average curve, so those would be the workers. And then if you had someone that really excelled, you were looking at who your managers and your upper leaders would be. And then the people that couldn't do that, well, too bad. And that really is the way that school was designed to be in the beginning. That's why students sat in rows. And here you're seeing a factory, and it doesn't look very different from the way.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm still seeing slide number 11. So
are you?
Yes.
All right, hold on. Let me stop the share. I apologize for that. Let me go back in. All right. Thank you for saying something, Mrs. Segura. All right. Can you see that now? Factory, all right. So I apologize. So, you know, we've seen classrooms that look like this. So this is the sorting machine, and school was designed to be the sorting machine to decide who would work in factories. And if you look at it, you know, here's a comic: for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. So here you're looking at a unique group of individuals, and Albert Einstein made the comment, he says, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. And the 100-point scale was designed just to fit one model and one group of people, and it really doesn't account for the amazing variety that we have. And so we really have been working to address that issue and meet your children with where they're at and to really grow them to be the amazing people that they are. We're going to talk about standards-based grading, but I want you to look, this is kind of a typical report card. If you look at that and you see a percentage, and you know, math, you got an A-, and test average an A-, social studies an A-. But if you look at this report card, it really doesn't tell you where a student is doing well and where a student is struggling. with the math that they're doing. Are they able to divide a 4-digit number by a 2-digit number? Or are they able to divide a 4-digit number by a 3-digit number? Are they having difficulty with the final step of that process? Are they able to round whole numbers but struggling with fractions? Who knows? So the normal report card really is not specific as to what students need to know. And we call what we've been working with here standard-based grading, and you may have heard about that. And to be honest, this is the trend of education. Within the next 10 to 15 years, this will be normal in schools. Our Adventist school system across North America is transitioning into the system. And what's so amazing is we have already been training in it for the past 4 years. So we have built it from the ground up and have been working on what we're doing. And this year, we're fully launching what we've been working on. Some people are nervous about how this works and what do the Ivy League schools feel about it. And to be honest, they're excited about it because they feel it's a much more accurate portrayal of where students are actually at. And we'll talk about why that's so as we go through. All right, this is going to be a lot of information, so I don't expect you to be able to get all of it right away, and you may, but we will be revisiting this, but I want to give you a general outline. And we are going to be talking about the 3 buckets. And bucket 1 is just the one that we're most familiar with. And you can see that SBG, SBA, SBC, SBR. And the SBG is the grading that we're doing. The SBA is the academics, the R is the reporting, the SBC is the curriculum. So that's what you usually would expect in a school. What are you teaching? How are you going to grade it? How are you going to report on that? And so that is, but what we're going to be looking at, instead of just saying, oh, a student failed a test, they didn't do that test, we're going to be diagnosing and prescribing, what do we need to do? What did a student fail on that test? What did they not understand? What did they understand? So if they got this particular part, then we're going to move on from there and start working on what they didn't get. Now, bucket 2 is the context for learning. Instead of just moving each day, well, we're on workbook page 52 and we're going to go through this page and do all the exercises, we want to create an authentic and relevant context. So if we're learning punctuation, why not write a letter to the president, or write a letter to a family friend, or write a letter to an organization that is trying to help in an area of something that is appealing. Students often see a disconnect between school, the work that they're doing there, in real life. They feel like you got to get through school so you can get home and have real life. And so we want them to understand school is actually the preparation for life, and that we're trying to teach them life skills. So if we can present the standards, what they're meant to learn, in a relevant and authentic context where it actually has a meaning, then it will help them to understand why it's important, and it will just give it new meaning for them. And then bucket 3, questing, we will be talking about definitely through the year, and your child may have already talked about it and have done some quests if they're returning to our junior high this year. And so ultimately what we want to do is make our students self-regulate themselves, self-navigate, self-motivate, and self-assess. So, ideally when you go to your job, your boss doesn't want to have to be telling you, okay, minute 1, do this, minute 2, do that, minute 3, do this, and check on that. They want to say, hey, I need you to get this accomplished. Use these resources and go for it. And so we want to prepare students for real life, where they're not waiting like a robot for the teacher, do this, then do that. Like, okay, this is the learning. This is what we want you to accomplish. We're going to help you find the ways that you can do that most effectively for who you are and what works for you, and then have them become those self-motivated learners where you're not always having to say, okay, do this, do this, do this. So as we're going through this, this is what we're trying to do. And the quest is actually, it can be a teacher-driven project or it can be a student-driven project. And in the beginning, it will be teacher-driven. Teachers will give students quests. And what that is they will be taking the standards that they're learning, and then they will be applying it in a unique way. And ideally in a way that just brings them joy. Maybe they're researching it just because they like that topic. Maybe it's because they want to make the world a better place. It's something that will help, and so they want to know more about it. Or maybe it's something that they're interested in pursuing because it's a way of making money, either for now or it helps lead to their future interests for careers. So these are what we're looking for in the quest, and we really want students to launch and get excited about it and make it something that's theirs, that they want to do and that they're interested in, so that it will just add more energy to the project. All right, the biggest difference between standard-based grading and the 100-point scale is the 100-point scale is trying to find people who have that actual talent or skill that you're looking for. So you're sorting through people to find out who that is. But with SBG, you are developing those talents. So maybe somebody isn't there quite yet, but you are giving them the resources to get there and do what they can do. And that's exciting. We want students to excel and be able to do more than they even think that they can do, and give them those tools so that they can accomplish that. One of the things that you can see the difference between the 100-point scale and the standards-based grading. And standards-based grading is really not a great term because it mentions grading. We will be transferring to standards-based referencing, but it really is a whole instructional model. So it's about the grading, but it's about the curriculum and the resources and the assessments and all of that. And if you look, when you're doing the standards-based grading or the SBG, the teacher's the advocate. They're out there to assess the student and just see where they're at. It's kind of like a doctor. When you come into a doctor's office, he's not like, well, your leg's broken. I can tell that, too bad. It's like, okay, this is where we're at. This is what we need to do to correct it. This is how we're going to fix it. When we're doing the 100-point scale, the teacher's the judge. You just took a test. This is what you did on it at this point in time. That's what you get. The student, when we do the SBG, they're still able to improve their performance. They can do retakes. They can redo that assignment and rethink it so that they can actually master the content. So instead of just sorting them out and saying, okay, this student did well, this student didn't, too bad, this is where you're at. They always can do better and work towards that goal. And then the product is descriptive feedback. So as we take assessments, all right, you didn't quite get where you needed to with this, but here's some things that you can do. Let's see if you can master that standard that you're looking at. Whereas, so in the 100-point scale, we're looking, the product is really evaluative feedback. You're done, the autopsy. This is where you are and you really can't go anywhere from there. So we really want to encourage students to keep pursuing and to master that material and not leave any holes or gaps in their education. Now we're going to talk about prioritized standards. Now there are a whole list of standards, and you can go look at the standards if you want to. Go online, look at California state standards for your child's grades. They have them for, they call it ELA for the English language skills. They have social studies, math, science, and you know, in math, it could be 300 standards. There are a lot of them. language arts has a lot of standards, but once you break them all down. And so there's no way that we could do a report card with standards for all of those. So what we're doing is we are covering all of the standards in each subject. Teachers are addressing those, and students will be doing practice and working towards those. But we are prioritizing the standards that we know are the most important. And so those are the fundamental concepts they need, or those foundational prerequisites. So those are the ones that we're going to target, and we will really go in depth with those. And then those are the ones that we will report out to you on the report card. And I'll show you what that looks like. And here's just an example, and I took this from the social studies standards. And one of the standards that's going to be prioritized for 6th grade social studies is the 6.1.1. And that is describe the hunter-gatherer societies, including the development of tools and the use of fire. And that's a general standard, but it's talking about a lot of information that students can draw upon and extrapolate from. Now that one we're prioritizing over discuss the features of Egyptian art and architecture. Now that is something that is interesting and can be, that students can study, but it really isn't as encompassing as encompassing as the hunter-gatherer. So we've picked those standards that are more overarching and broader, and then we're going to spend a lot of time going in depth with that with students. So one of the things that you're going to look at is we had a 3-part formative assessment last year, a learner plan, and we're really trying to tighten that up a little bit and put that in a more concise format for students. And so this would be the learning target for students. And we're trying to put it in a way that we call student facing. So a student can look at this and they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And this is a proficiency scale. And so the proficiency scale, instead of having 1 to 100, we have the scale of 1 to 4. And so 1 means that a student can do the activity, but they need teacher assistance. So a teacher works through the activity with them, says, hey, we're writing up on the board. Number 1, you're going to write this down. Number 2, you're going to write that down. Or then a 2.0 means that they have those particular parts of the standard. So we saw that standard earlier, and it's broken down into prerequisite skills that that student is going to need to achieve the standard. And the standard is actually the 3.0. So that is the minimum that the student needs to know. And if they can meet all of those criteria, then they have mastered that standard. And the 2.0 activities are items that will help get them towards that 3.0. So when teachers are creating assessments, it won't necessarily be 15 questions on a page. It may just be 3 or 4. It could be 2 or 1 even. And so a teacher is going to be looking for can students answer those questions? Do they understand what that particular part of that standard is? And so you will see on an assessment or on an assignment a 2.0, or you may see a 3.0. When you see that, you know that it's a 2.0. That means it is part of that full standard, but it's one piece of it. And so we want to know that they know every piece of that. So teachers are going to make sure that the assessment has a question or a demonstration, a way that students can tell you for sure that they know each of those 3 pieces. Until they know all 3 of them and have demonstrated that for a teacher. And it could be as simple as a teacher just saying, hey, can you tell me 2 hunter-gatherer societies? And they rattle them off, gets off on checked off on a clipboard. then they have mastered that part of that 2.0 standard. But they still, until they've mastered all three, it will be logged as a 1.5. So when they can do all three parts of this 2.0, then they will have achieved the 2.0 standard. And then that means that they are working on the 3.0. So these are the foundational skills they need to build to this particular standard. Once they get to the 2.5, the 2.0, then there may be some assessment questions that are 3.0 or one of these. And so if they can do all of the 2.0 and they can also do one or two of these 3.0s together, then they would be at a 2.5. So you as a parent automatically know if your child has a 3.0 in something, they've mastered all parts of that standard. But if they're at a 2.0, then you know, wait a second, there's something missing. And so how do you know? You're going to come to this form, and then I'll show you later on. You can look, and when they take their test, they have all of those standards are broken down into sections. And then once they take that test, you're going to know whether it's correct or incorrect. They're going to know it. And a teacher can put feedback in there. The student can write their own feedback. Oh, you know, I forgot about this one particular part. It's very prescriptive and very descriptive. So you will know there's no confusion. Which part are they stuck on? Which part did they really ace and do well on? And so you can see here, you've got the 2.0, the 2.0, and these match these portions in here. So it's, everybody knows it's very, very clear. There's nothing hidden, no surprises about that. The 3.0 here as they get it. Now, we don't want students just to be at standard. That's great, but if they can go beyond and we can challenge them to go beyond or even somewhat beyond, then we definitely want to do that. So that's what the 4.0 is about. So if we look at this, the 4.0, I can research and recreate a hunter-gatherer society through a video model or other methods. So now they're taking what they've learned about other societies and they're making their own. They really have to have a good understanding to do that. And maybe some students will be able to do that completely, and then they'll be at a 4.0. Maybe they can do a portion of it, so it might be a 3.5. And maybe they're just not ready for that yet. Then it would still be a 3.0 for them. So we will be talking in proficiencies, we'll be talking in numbers, 1s, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5 as we go through. Now on this side here, these are learning strategy options. So teachers have researched, you know, what are some ways that I can help my student? And this is a benefit for both the learners that are ahead of the game, they're ready for this and they get the concepts quickly. And then for the students that are still struggling. So if you've got a student that they're like, wow, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, and that's within the first week, then you're like, and maybe the class is still working on this part and they're ready to move ahead. You can say, hey, go look at this article, see what you can find out about that. You can take the assessments. We've already got them ready. And if then they're ready, then they can go ahead and work on this 4.0 while other students are still working on the 2 or the 3.0. That way, the learning is differentiated. If a student's ready to move on ahead, they can launch and go. If they need a little bit more time, they've got time. Plus, they have these resources that we've provided for them that will help build their learning and their understanding. All right, so again, this is their progress that they're following. They have, this will be with them. So they're working this to see where they're at, and teachers can put that feedback in there for them. And then what they're, what they're going to do is, this is their plan. So once they've started taking those assessments and see where they're at, they're like, man, I could do you know, part A of that 2.0. I could do part 2 of that 2.0. You know, I need to practice part 3 of that 2.0. And then I need to learn, you know, I was looking at that 3.0 and I'm not sure about that. So the students can go here and they are starting to think about and evaluate, where do I need to be? They're analyzing their learning. They're not waiting, teacher, tell me what to do next. They're really starting to process and think about what they can do and where they need to go next. And then you as a parent can say, hey, show me your learner plan. Where are you at? Looks like you need to start working on 2.0 part A and do that research, and then we can talk about that later. And then here's the study plan. So student can cut and paste the this learning strategy. They think, yeah, you know, I'm going to do that. I think that'll help me. So cut and paste it, put it in here, and they can do that. They could create their own learner plan. It really is about what is most effective for them. We want students to take responsibility and to be able to move ahead. So this is one of the things that you will be seeing as we go throughout. And the report card that we have will be looking at these numbers, the 2.0, 2.5, 3.0. And that's what we'll be reporting out on. I do want to talk about practice. Assignments are not necessarily graded. They will be evaluated. But if you asked Kobe in his days, if he started missing free throws when he was practicing, and if he missed more than 4 free throws, he couldn't go on. I mean, that's crazy. You've got to keep practicing and practicing and practicing. So assignments will be considered as practice. So students are not going to get a grade for that per se. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about that, what that's going to look like. If you look on their progress and when you're going on to RenWeb, or if you look at their report card, you're going to see there will be a practice category. And what we're going to do is it will be tied. Here's an example. This is standard 1. And so there could be 5 standards that are reported out. There could be 3 standards that are reported out. It just depends on each subject and where the teachers are. But there will always be a practice category, and it will be indicated as to what standard it is. And so this is worksheet 1, and this is tied to standard 1. But if you look at this, and this is where it may be a bit confusing for you families, but our parents, I want you to understand. In order for us to set this up where it calculates the grades fairly according to the standards-based scale, we are having to set our program to max for 100%. However, it is not out of 100 points. So on this particular assignment, and what we're going to do, students will get points. They get a 1 if they've done it. And if they haven't done it, then it's going to be a 0. And so you will know when you look at this whether your child is keeping up with their assignments or not. And the point of the assignment is to give them time to practice. So let's say they just got a new concept today, and we've given them an assignment to practice on. You know, they really don't understand it yet. They're still struggling with it. And let's say they really don't get it at all. And the 100-point scale, when we grade that, let's say they get 42% on there. That drags their grade way down. But let's say in a week, they really start to get it. But they've had 42% and a 50% and a 60%. Even if they get 100%, their grade is so low, it's hard to move up from there. So we want them to be able to practice. They need those activities to do them. And we want them to be accountable. We want them to perform, to take that time to do those practices, but we don't want to penalize them for that. So if you look, the weight for the practices will be 0, but this is our way of saying, You know, if they get to the assessment and they don't do well, and we see that they haven't been doing the assignments, then we know they're not getting enough practice. If they've been doing all of the assignments, but they don't do well on an assessment, then we know we've got to reevaluate and see what's going on and how can we help them. But I want you to understand, so you're going to see practice. There will be assignments in here. There is a max value. Don't worry about the average that you see here. Don't worry about this being 100, but what you're wanting to look and see is your child doing those assignments. Are they getting that practice work in? Their grade is going to come from this. These are the assessments. So you'll see S1, standard 1, and they'll be labeled like we labeled the other one. So 6.1.1 or NO, number operations, 0.4, 0.3, 0.2. And the first number is usually has to do with the grade. So the 6.1.1 means it's 6th grade. 4 point whatever is 4th grade. 8 point is 8th grade. So as you're looking, we're looking at these assignments. And our ultimate goal for your child is a 3.0 or a 4.0 if they can do that. And so this is what we're looking here. And I want to show you on their first test, it was a 3.0, and they actually made a 3.0. And so if we look here in the note, we have that on that 3.0, they made a 3.0. But if we leave that 3.0 in the points, it is going to average it with the 4.0, and you'll get a 3.5 there. So when we first start taking assessments, students, you'll see the standard, you'll know what it is. Now there might be an assessment that's a 2.0, and just realize in the beginning there may be 2.0 standards, but by the end of that unit and before the end of the quarter, students will have a chance to achieve a 3.0 and a 4.0 so that we can know if they've really mastered that standard and if they've gone above and beyond that. So this student in the beginning made a 3.0, and that would have been listed as a 3.0. But later on in the quarter, they did a quest that was a 4.0 and they knocked it out of the park, which is what we're looking for. So now they have scored 4.0 there. We don't want to drop their grade down, averaging the 3.0 and the 4.0. So we're going to put in the notes so that we know when they did this assessment, they made a 3.0 score on that. That means they achieved the standard. But later on, as they did more work, they had a 4.0 quest where they could work on that project. They achieved that. So for that standard, they now have achieved a 4.0. So it can be a little confusing. And again, we're happy to talk to you about it if you're not sure. But the thing that I want you to look for is the categories practice. Is your child doing the practice assignments so that they can get the opportunity to master that standard? And then the grade will come from the assessments, and students will have opportunities to retake those assessments. So if let's say that they've taken that 3.0 or it's even a 4.0 assessment and they didn't do well on it, they will need to go back and figure out, what am I going to do so that I can work on that and master that standard more fully? So they've got to go back to their learning plan. They're going to record, what am I going to do on my study plan? They need to show proof that they've done it. Teachers have to spend time creating these assessments, and so it's not fair to them to have a student not to work towards it, take it, bomb it, and say, oh, I'll just take it again, bomb it, and then go back and forth. And we don't want them to get into that practice. We want them to realize, hey, if I'm not understanding this area, I need to work at it in order to grasp that information, and then I can move on. So students will have to come back and say, hey, I did these practice assignments, I did this activity, and I think I'm ready for that retake. And then absolutely, we're happy for them to take that retake and they can move on in what they're doing. And then again, that will show here. So let's say they got a 3.0 or a 2.0 and they've moved up. We'll indicate that here in the notes, and then we're ready to move forward and show how they've mastered that information. So this is the standards-based grading. I know it's a lot of information. And so I'm not sure if you have some questions you want to ask right now of me, or if you just need to process through this and we can answer questions as you go. I'm open to that right now. So if you want to ask a question in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself right now, please feel free to do that. All right. Okay, and I know it's a lot of information. So I'm going to move on to our presentation, and we'll have time for questions at the end. So if you think of something, want to know a little bit more about it, then definitely please feel free to type that in the chat or ask as we go.
Mrs. Nair, I have a question.
Sure.
This is Mark Middleton's mom.
Hi.
And I have a question. First of all, comment. I'm really glad that we're going to standard-based learning. But one of my questions I have regarding this report card, I know the standards have many strands,
Yes.
and each strand has many skills.
Yes.
And I see that you're going to focus on certain strands of the standards. However, like I know a lot of these standards build upon from year to year.
Right.
And in order to find out exactly where every student's at, there needs to be some kind of measurable data.
Right.
So my question is, what assessment or are you going to use to show me that measurable growth data? Are you going to have a pre and post? Is it going to be teacher created, a formative? What kind of assessment that's going to give me so I know exactly what strand and skill my child is not at grade level or proficient?
Right. Well, the prioritized standards are the ones that we're reporting out on, but they're not the only ones that we're teaching. We will be teaching all of those. We will be transitioning to something called the MAP testing. And so that is a grade level test that is given 3 times during the year. And it will actually have all of those components of the standards. And so we will have an idea. We will take that in September, in I think 2-3 weeks. That is on the schedule. We'll do that in September, we'll do that in January, and we'll also do that at the end of the year to see what the progress is and what we need to do, what we need to focus on as far as the overall standards. Teachers also will be doing some summative assessments, but formative as they're going through, which means when they're coming to a unit, they will be assessing what students know. So there will be some pre-tests, there will be some assessments as they go through, just to see where they're at with all the parts of the standards and all the different standards. But we are going to really focus, go in deep for those prioritized standards. So those are the ones that we really feel are going to make the biggest difference and that they can apply on many different levels.
Okay, thank you. Now my last question is, are we going to get a list? I know we can get the California standards for every grade level, but are we going to get a list of the ones that they will be focusing for the grade level that my son's in?
Yeah, we will have the prioritized standards available for you, yes, so that you can see what those are. And again, there are different components that go with that. And is what we will be reporting out in our progress report as you go through. And you can also look on RenWeb at any time. Those will be added in. You'll see which standard and which number the teachers are focusing on for that. But throughout the classes, they will also be addressing those other standards. For example, one of the standards, I can't remember, third or fourth, is for students to know a bar graph, how to read that and understand that and create one, and that's important. But another one is a pictograph. And a pictograph would be, if you were counting library books, then you would do a graph that maybe one library book represented 5 books. So every time you saw one book, it meant 5. Well, we don't use that as often as we do a bar graph. So we would focus more on the bar graph. So we will address all of the standards and students will be instructed in them. But we really are going to take the time to make sure that students know and master those prioritized ones and those components of those prioritized ones.
Got it. Sorry. And my last question with the grading scale.
Sure.
The scale, I know it's a 4.0, 3.0. However, I know with standards, the way they are, you're considered either proficient, you mastered it, below, far below. Now, I know it shows the letter A. So if my child is considered proficient in that standard, is he going to have to master it? Because there's the following year where the standard, like I said, builds upon each other. So
Right.
Does that mean he will not get an A because he did not master the standard? However, he met grade level.
Well,
So I'm not sure about that.
yeah, the standard is grade level appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
So there are certain parts, and you're right, they do build. And so a student that is at standard, and it will be grade level appropriate. So a student that is at grade level standard will have an A minus. A 3.0 is an A minus. And we're tying it to the 100-point grading scale just so it's easier for families to understand. But if a student is at proficiency, they'll have an A minus. And if they reach a 4.0, then they'll have an A. So that's kind of the way it'll translate. And I do have a breakdown so you could look and see what the different averages are. So, but we don't want to penalize students. And what is really great about what we're doing here at San Gabriel is we're using a format, a platform that has all of the standards listed for each grade and when we're teaching them. And so we can look as a school, and if we're seeing in our math scores that our students are not doing well with rounding, then we can go back and actually look and see. Teachers have planned out exactly when they're going to teach each of these standards and how they're going to do that. And so we can look as a school system and say, you know what? We go back and look, and I can see we did rounding in 2nd grade. We only did a little bit in 3rd grade. We didn't do it in 4th grade or 5th grade. No wonder. And then we can go back and correct that. So we're actually aligning our curriculum as we go. Now, again, we are on this journey, so we haven't perfectly mastered all of this yet. But we're definitely way ahead of the game. And what's great about what we're doing here is we can track from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade, what standards we're teaching, how often we teach them, the depth that we're going into them.
Okay, thank you. I might have more later.
Those are great questions. Yes, will this slideshow be made available for the parents to review? I will put it on, put it in our junior high section, and I'll show you that. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Segura. You were, so someone was asking whether the slideshow will be available, and I'm getting ready to show you a website where we have the different videos, instructional videos that will help you. All right, are there any other questions about that? Okay, I'm going to move on. And again, if you have more questions, then we can address those before we finish for the evening. Now, I wanted to show you that, and I'm going to share some of these tutorials this evening, but we have junior high video tutorials on a YouTube site for us. So if you search SGA Junior High YouTube videos, you will see this particular link here, and then you can click on it, and that will bring you to this site here. And so if you do just SGA Junior High YouTube, it will bring you to channels and you won't see anything. You will have to click on videos. But if you look SGA Junior High YouTube videos, then that'll bring you right here and you can check out those videos. And I'm going to share some of those with you at this moment. So I'm going to stop the share and go to that site. And hold on, let me move over there. Get out of my presentation mode. All right, and I'm going to share the site just quickly with you to see this is what it looks like. And you can subscribe to that if you want to. Give me a thumbs up if you can see the junior high site, YouTube site. Perfect. Okay, just want to make sure I was there. It has RenWeb access, how to log on, Smart Music, how to log on to Zoom. All of those are on our San Gabriel Academy website. If you go to Student Life, the second, and click on that drop box. So if you go to San Gabriel Academy website and go over to Student Life, the second choice in the Dropbox will take you to these videos. So if you're not sure how to log on to RenWeb, how to do Smart Music, how to do Zoom, you can go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and play the Shobi information from Mrs. Valdez. She's just going to talk very quickly on that. So let me open that one up. And
hi, I am Mrs. Trisha Coe Valdez, and right now I'll be talking to you a little bit about Shobi.
Sorry, and let me share that with you. Okay.
Hi, I am Mrs. Trisha Coe Valdez, and right now I'll be talking to you a little bit about Shobi. Shobi is one of the ways in which you can turn in your homework assignments. The first thing that you will have to do is go to your email address and find all the Shobi codes that were emailed to you from the school. Then you will have to go to shobi.com or get the Shobi app and join a class. After you join a class, it will ask you for the code. This will be the code that you will enter that you received from the email. There will be different codes for each class. For example, there will be a Science 6, which is 6th grade science code to turn in things for Shobi. If you have any concerns or questions about Shobi, please email us. Thank you.
All right. And so, and for Shobi, once students have logged on to Shobi and entered those codes, then they shouldn't have to use them again. It will go ahead and take them into what they need. I'm going to go take a look, and I'd like to go into Google Classroom. That is one of the sites that you are going to, that you might need assistance with as a parent to see how it works, to help your student. So let me go to that, and we're going to look at that. All of these videos are at that SGA Junior High YouTube site, so you can go back and look at them anytime you want to. And we'll also post this video of the standards-based grading. So let me share this with you.
So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Google Classroom for this upcoming year. And all of us teachers are using Google Classroom, so it is important to know the step-by-step process for getting signed in and using it properly. So parents, you're welcome to follow along as well, because there is some information I will share in this video about how you can check up on your students' progress and assignments as well. So starting off, you're just going to go to Google and you're going to type in Google Classroom. Now you can also access the app on the App Store or Google Play, and you can download the app and follow a very similar process into signing in. So once you see Google Classroom, we're going to click on Google Classroom, and it's going to prompt us to sign in. Now, I was already signed in, so it automatically brought me in. But let's say if I click sign out, I'm going to sign out for a moment so you can see what you're probably going to see. You're going to see choose an account. I have a lot of accounts. It's very important you choose your San Gabriel Academy email to sign into. This is a problem we've run into the past where some students will wonder where their content is, but they accidentally signed in with a different email account. So please make sure when you sign in with your San Gabriel Academy email. So I'm going to click next. It's going to sign me in, and you're going to see in a moment multiple classes that I'm signed up for. Now, most of these I'm teaching, but I decided to, for an example for this video, sign up for Mrs. O's class from last quarter, last year. And so she taught art, so I'm going to click on that one. So this is student facing, meaning that this is what you guys as students will actually see. So starting off, you can see that at the very top, there's 3 tabs. And it's kind of important, especially for the first 2, for you to know what they mean. So where it says stream, the stream is where you're going to see updates from your teacher. So since this is Mrs. O's class, I can get reminders here. So you can see on April 11, she posted a reminder about one of the assignments she gave. This is also a place in the left-hand side where you see a little box that says upcoming. Now, since this is a former class, obviously you see there's no work due here, but normally you'll see a spot where you're going to have upcoming assignments that are going to be due here at the upcoming section. So this is an important section to go to find out the latest updates on your class. Next, we're going to go to where it says classwork. I'm going to click on that tab, and you can see here that Mrs. O has put different assignments all throughout the last quarter. And as I scroll down, you can see examples. I'm just going to click on one of them, and it's first going to expand what I have here. And since I enrolled in this class, you can see number 1, since I did not turn in this assignment by May 22, which it says right here in the top right-hand corner, due May 22, it says it's missing. So that's how I can see very clearly, yep, Mrs. O didn't get my information. So what I'm going to do to see the information about the assignment, I'm going to click View Assignment. And so here I can see that Mrs. O added a YouTube video that's 4 minutes long for me to watch. So I'm going to, if I click on that, that's going to prompt me to watch the video. And when I'm done watching the video, I will click Turn In. Now, it's very important when assignments are posted to Google Classroom for you to click Turn In after you've completed an assignment. Now, there are some websites that we will link to Google Classroom that only need you to submit on that website. So YouTube is not an example. YouTube is just a place to watch videos. So you would have to watch the video and then click Turn In to show that you finished watching the video. But if we're doing an assignment, say on Edpuzzle or Actively Learn or BrainPop, you would be able to just go to those websites and click on the link here that your teacher provided you and finish it there. And then you can go back and it will submit automatically to Google Classroom once you finish that. So that's the main way to view assignments on Google Classroom. So first off, remember the stream is where you can check out updates. When you click on the assignment tab, the classwork tab, that's where you go to see your detailed assignment list. The last tab, and I'll see here if I go back, where it says people, this is just a list of people, the teacher, as well as classmates you have here. So say that your teacher has you working on a group project. This is where you could go and you could actually email one of your classmates. You can also, of course, email the teacher as well, but this is a place where you could email one of the classmates if you're working on a assignment or project together. So that's another way that you can use Google Classroom. So these are the main components that we have here. One important thing I wanted to share is that although there is a section where you can see grades, we are going to be inputting grades on the website RenWeb, also known as FACTS. And so with RenWeb, that is where you will see updates for your grades. So do not expect to see any grades being updated necessarily on Google Classroom. Now, you will see if you turned it in or not, if it's turned in or missing. That is very important information. But the actual scores for your grades, you will find that on RenWeb, which you can also go on this YouTube channel and find a video that describes how to use RenWeb. So please check that out. Parents, for those that are listening in, you can use your child's login information to view your student's work, your child's work, on Google Classroom. So you will have to log in with your student's username and password. Their email is their username, and you'll be able to check out everything they've been doing. So as long as you have that information, parents, you will be able to see if your child turned things in on time, as well as updates from the teachers when it comes to assignments. So those are the main components that we wanted to go over today with you guys. Of course, if you have any questions about Google Classroom or anything else relating to this next school year, please feel free to reach out to any of us teachers, and we'd be happy to talk with you and go over anything you have questions over. We're excited for this year, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank you. Bye.
All right, so that's a tutorial on how to go to Google Classroom. That could be confusing for students and for families. So remember that tutorial is available on the website. You can go at any time, and we do encourage you, go take a look and see what your student has been doing. Are they turning in assignments? Sometimes they'll just turn it in and there's nothing there. And so it's important that we help, especially at the beginning, 6th grade parents, but all parents. If you go on and just kind of walk through with them, say, show me what you had due today, where did you turn it in, show me what you turned in, those kinds of things. If they know that you're going to be checking, it's just another incentive for them to follow through and be able to do that. So feel free, and if you don't know your child's login information, we'll be happy to give you that and share that information with you. All right, I am going to share, hold on just a second. I need to get out of this one, and I'm going to share a little bit about the agendas and the devices that we have, and the reason that we have. So I'm going to put Mrs. Haynes on here. Hold on just a second. All right. And we're gonna.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mrs. Marla Haynes, and I want to share some information about our agendas. While we're in distance learning, your assignments will be found in the stream section on each Google Classroom screen. When we return to in-person classes, you will receive a plastic folder with a weekly replaceable cover sheet where you will record each day's assignments. Let me show you that. You will also have a monthly sheet for recording upcoming tests or other plans. Inside the folder, you can place assignments you're working on. Everything will be in one convenient place, so hopefully nothing will get lost. The other thing that I'd like to talk with you about for just a moment are the devices. Of course, everyone must have a device, or access to one, in order to be able to do distance learning. It is highly recommended for each student to have an iPad or tablet. This will also require a simple inexpensive stylus that you will use to write on the device. A phone is not recommended for these assignments because students will need a larger surface to work out problems and to do such things as unlocking the code word. So we hope that this will help to explain the reason that we need to have you use the iPad or tablet or computer, but the iPad or tablet to write on rather than using a phone. So if you have any questions, please contact us. Thank you.
All right. And again, we do recommend a stylus, but you can get them very inexpensively. You can get them at the dollar store. You could order one for $5. We're not asking you to get a very expensive one. You can if you choose to, but it just makes it easier when students are working on the device and the phone is too small and it doesn't really allow them to format everything the way that they need to. Obviously, if that's the only option you have, then please talk to us. But and it may be that something in it might be that something, for some reason, your student has to use that phone. But as a regular, we do not want to do that. All right, I am going to go back. And we're going to look at, I think, 2 more videos. And then again, all of these are on the website.
Mrs. Nair, Mr. Satoris has a question.
Yes.
Hi, Mrs. Nair. Thank you for going over with this. I'm going back to the Shobi, Google Classroom, and RenWeb earlier.
Yeah.
Now I know the Google Classroom, you mentioned that the parents doesn't have specific login to that one, but we can always go through the student. Now I understand that. Shobi, I know last year I have an account for Shobi. Is that you can use that the same Shobi that I can view like all my students? Like I have 3 children, right? So I assume that I will be able to use one Shobi account that I will be able to look at all those 3 children's progress in that Shobi. That's one. Now, the second question I have, I don't know, I've been seeing a lot of emails on my emails. I don't even know if I have a chance to go over with all of those. Is there any way to classify those emails that something that parents must see or like important or just FYI, so I can know that I make sure that I review the emails truly?
Are you talking about the Google Classroom emails?
Well, there's two parts. Google Classroom, I got that already. We can always use the students, right? Login information to go in. That's done. But I'm talking about the Shobi one. The Shobi, that Shobi previously I have, like from last year. We can use that the same login to view progress of my all 3 children, I assume. You can correct me if I'm wrong. That's one. Number 2, due to all those emails that coming through, I just worry that I missed that important part because I don't have, I don't know, maybe parents, other parents have the same, but I'm not sure. I couldn't get to read all those emails, but if you can, the teacher can classify that parents must see or important, like tag that or identify the email to classify email that parents must see, or just FYI emails.
Right. I am assuming that Shobi has not changed, that you can still access all 3 students on the account. Teachers, do you know if that's possible?
Mrs. Nair,
Yes.
for Shobi, for parents to be able to access all of the assignments, the teacher has to connect the parents to that. So once the students are all connected, then the teacher has a way to invite the parents so that they can see all assignments that have been turned in. Otherwise, if the teacher does not invite the parent to be, you know, on Shobi, they can only see what the student has turned into their portfolio. And
Okay.
so the student, there's a portfolio where if the student can put things that they really liked that they did and kind of save it to a portfolio. But if parents want to be able to see all the work that was turned in and all the assignments and everything, then the teachers need to connect the parents.
Okay. All right. And
So
we'll
I'm
work.
not sure that all teachers are aware of that are using Shobi. So maybe we can
Right.
communicate that to them.
Now, the question has been asked, is there a way to link accounts? Is there a parent account for Google Classroom? And at this point, there is not a parent account for Google Classroom. You would have to log in as your child in order to see that. Now, if that changes or if I'm mistaken, then we'll definitely make sure that we can get that information to you. But you would be logging in as your child for Google Classroom. As far as all of the notes, I do understand because I'm actually linked to those accounts, so I get Google Classroom emails all day long. And I know it can be hard trying to sort through those. I'm not sure if there's a way that we can head it, and we'll take a look at that. But that is one of the, it's fortunate, but it's unfortunate. Every assignment that is given will, if you selected that, it will send it to your email. If your child emails anything, it'll send it every time they upload something. And I do realize that that can be a lot to wade through. We will work to make sure that if we have an important announcement, that we will send it to you in a manner where you know that it's urgent. And if we're seeing that your child is not doing what they need to do or is not getting their work done, then we'll also work to make sure that you know about that.
Thank you, Mrs. Nair. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it is like auto-generated from Google or anything like the Zoom, it's okay. But like email that you guys send, like the teacher sends, that we need to know that I need to you know, go over with. I just, you know, that personally you guys send, you guys can, you know, kind of tag it or whatever important or some
Right.
kind.
I understand that because you can get lost in that I mean, it's a mountain of emails. So,
Yeah, and I was kind of nervous too to see all those emails. Oh, do I miss anything? I was like,
right.
yeah, thank you, thank you.
So anytime there's an assignment, you will get an email. So when teachers post assignments on there, you'll get an email for that. And that can be overwhelming. So you could turn that feature off and then look, or just kind of sort through them and just see assignment, and then, you know, be checking the account too.
Thank you, Ms. Nair.
Sure. All right. We have a couple more videos that I want to go through just for your information. And then again, all of these are available for you on our website. So we're going to take a look at BrainPop and Actively Learn so that you know how to work those. Let's see.
All right, students, so in this
Can you
video,
see the
I want to go
video?
over 3 important websites you will be using throughout this school year. And those 3 websites are BrainPop, Actively Learn, and Edpuzzle. I'm going to start with BrainPop here. So most of you students that are returning have used BrainPop before, but just in case, I want to go over some quick important information about this website. You will be using this website for areas such as math, science, and social studies, and as well as language arts. So as we log in, of course, you just go to brainpop.com. I believe there's also an app you can download for your phones and tablets, but I'm just going to click login. And I want to go over this information with you right here. So it's important that when you log in, you don't just log in with your own Google account. With BrainPop, we have a very specific username as well as a password that you need to log in with to access our school's content for your assignments. So most of the time, you're going to be on Google Classroom, and one of your teachers will send you an assignment that will have BrainPop in the title, and it will probably have a link directly to BrainPop. But when you click on that, it's probably going to prompt you to sign in to BrainPop. So here's the information you need to know. The username is San Gabriel ADV. That's all lowercase, no spaces. And then of course, in the password section, you can see that it's got dots there for security reasons, but I'm going to tell you that the password is BrainPop. So no surprise there. The password is the same from previous years. BrainPop, all lowercase. So it's not like you see on the website over here in the corner. It is all lowercase BrainPop. All one word, no spaces, and lowercase. So now I'm going to click Login. Now, in most cases, this is bringing me a general overview of BrainPop, but in most cases, you're going to be clicking a link from an assignment posted on Google Classroom for BrainPop, and it'll take you directly there. But I'm just going to give you an example for those of you that may not be familiar with BrainPop. You can click on one of the subjects. I'm clicking on social studies since that's one of the subjects I teach. And just as an example, I'm going into one of the topics that BrainPop provides on social studies. We have here Barack Obama, and your teacher might choose to, number one, have you watch the video. That teacher also might have you take a quiz after you watch the video, which is right here, a quiz that will be multiple choice. There are also other things like challenges, related reading, vocabulary, graphic organizers. So there's worksheets and assignments also that your teacher may give you here. There's also games and activities. So these are all the different things that BrainPop provides for our classroom. So that's BrainPop. So please just remember, the most important thing is saving that username and password combination so you know how to log in. If you do not use that login, you will not be able to access your teacher's assignments. The second website I want to go over today is Actively Learn. You'll be using Actively Learn with social studies this year. And what I'm going to show you first is going back to very similar to Google Classroom, you sign in with your Google account. Now you can manually enter it right here, your email and your password, but I just like clicking on Google and it remembers my information, so it automatically logs me in. And this year in social studies, I'll be assigning you different assignments. Now over here, it's the teacher version, but on the side here on the left, you will see a section that shows you your classes that you're enrolled in for Actively Learn, and it will show you the assignments that you have. So again, I'm just going to click on topics. I'm just going to do this for the sake of an example. And we have here African civilizations. So we see here there's a bunch of articles that have information about that topic. So here we have a topic on the Berbers and their camel caravans. So there's different information here. It's, of course, a reading article, but it's also interactive. There's sections that I can click on where, for instance, it talks about the desert being vast and dangerous, talking about the Sahara Desert. And over here, you can see there's a video you can watch to learn more about that. So this is an interactive article website that allows for video viewing, as well as, if I scroll down, there are questions. So here you notice it says consider paragraph 2 and the 2 images above. So, and then it asks a question. So as you read in an Actively Learn assignment, you'll actually have to read and then answer a question. So this is the way that Actively Learn will be used. We'll read different articles, watch videos that relate to social studies, and you'll complete your assignments here. And there's more information I will go into later about Actively Learn once we have that all set up for everyone. But this is the main introduction to how to log in and get up and ready for Actively Learn. So again, Google Classroom will be where you see the assignments and they'll take you directly there. And I will talk later about how to get signed up for those classes. The final section is Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle, like Actively Learn, has you log in, and what I'll do, it says, welcome back, ready for class, I'm a teacher. You would click I'm a student. But again, I can do the shortcut here and click sign in with Google, and you'll see the same page. I'm going to choose my San Gabriel Academy email, and it's going to log me in. Now on Edpuzzle, it is mainly just videos that your teachers have edited for education purposes. And for those returning students, you know how this works. I assign videos where you would go, and I'll just pick an example here from Bible class, Shalom, Peace. It's a word study video. And you'll notice in the video as you watch that there are sections where you answer questions. So I'm going to start playing the video just for a moment.
The word peace is common in most languages. People can talk about.
And I'm going to pause it right there. And I'm going to skip ahead because I'm allowed to. You will not be allowed, unfortunately, to skip ahead in the video. You have to watch it. And I'm going to skip ahead to the first question. So after you watch a section of the video, on the right-hand side of the screen, you will see a multiple choice question or a short answer question where you are supposed to select the correct answer. So here, if I had watched the section, I would know how to answer which of these words is not a word for peace in the Bible. So for this sake, I'm going to answer incorrectly because one of the words for peace is shalom. So it would be incorrect for me to select that. So if I submit that, it's going to tell me that's wrong, and it's going to tell me the correct answer was salud. So here it gives me an example that I made a mistake. So again, though, if, say for instance, I wasn't sure if I got the right answer or not, I can click rewatch and watch it again before I answer. Now, once you've answered incorrectly, you have, it's final. You have to continue on to the next section. But if I want to rewatch,
and in the Bible, the word
I can rewatch the section again and try to figure out where I went wrong. So that's how Edpuzzle works, is it gives you a way to watch videos and to interact by answering quiz questions and questions your teachers give you. So those are the three main sections I wanted to talk about today, three main websites that you'll be using for class. Of course, if you have any questions about these three websites, feel free to talk to us teachers and junior high, and we'd be happy to answer your questions. So thank you very much for viewing this video, and we will see you guys soon.
All right. So that's talking about Edpuzzle and BrainPop again. There was a question, can we get the passwords and usernames for the apps that our students will be using? So we will email a sheet of that to you. All of the Google Classroom and Zoom and Shobi codes have already been sent home, but we will update that and add the, what were we just looking at? BrainPop, so that you have that too. And if there's others that come. For the Google Classroom and for Edpuzzle and some of the other apps, the sign-in is your student's Gmail account. And so that's why it was important that we have a Gmail account. So we will have those. Someone was also asking if there is an individual schedule for each grade and not a combined one. We do have a combined one, but Mrs. O has sent out a schedule for just the 6th graders, and then for the 7A, the 7A group and the 7B group and the 8A and the 8B. So I'll see if we can get that sent out to you again, maybe in a regular email, so it's not with Google Classroom, and you can put that in a place where you know what you have for your student. But your student should have a copy of their individual schedule. I do realize, especially for new students and for our incoming 6th graders that have not used Google Classroom, it can be a bit confusing. We're here to help. So please let us know. We don't want you to be frustrated. You can give us a call and say, can you send me this? I don't understand that. And we're happy to be able to clarify it for you. All right, we have one more video that I want to show, and then we're going to close up with any more questions and finish up. I do thank you for your time and attention as we've gone through this, but we just really want to make sure that you understand what the materials are, what the websites are, so that you can be effective, helping your student. So let me share that screen again. You may want to just wiggle out. You guys have been sitting for an hour and a half. That's the #1 no-no. We should stand up and jump around. Take a brain break. All right, and we're going to be talking about iExcel and then Khan Academy, which are other resources for part of that practice to help students be able to meet those standards.
iExcel and Khan Academy for junior high. We first want to start with iExcel. IXL is an account that is provided through the school, and you will be receiving a special NAD Adventist username so that you can log into our account, and you'll be also be given a password that goes with that. So if you have not received that, don't worry, I'll be giving that to you soon. And with that, you'll be able to log into IXL. Once you've logged in the first time, the next time when you come back, you'll have to just go ahead and go to the sign in option. I suggest that you click on Remember Me so that it will remember you on your device and you don't have to keep remembering. Should you forget your username or password, all you need to do is just let me know and I can help you find that once again. Then next, once you've clicked on that and you've logged in, at the top you'll see there are a variety of topics. You have math, language arts, science, and social studies, and the 4 teachers will be utilizing this program, each of us in a little bit of a different way. So you will need to check with the teacher as far as the expectations for that part of the IXL program. For me, you will see that I will often star, like you see with the blue arrow, when I have a certain topic that I would like students to work on. And so that way they know what we are currently working on. As if you look at the green arrow, you will notice that there is a number right there beside the topic. That number tells you what your current score is. Now, students, for me in math, only have to earn up to a 70%. Again, you may need to check with your teacher as far as the expectations for each IXL class. Now, once you've clicked on a topic, at the top you'll see where the blue arrow, there is the topic, and you'll see it starts. That's one we're working on right now. And as you're working on it, you'll come to the first one, and this isn't the first time that your student has logged into this topic, as you can see. But initially, they often give an example and an explanation so you can see what the topic will be like in that section. If you look at the yellow arrow, the green arrow, you will notice that it shows the amount of time that you spent on this topic while you are logged in for this time. And then at the bottom, you'll see the red. That is their SMART score. Now you can go up to 100%. As again, I said, my students only have to reach a 70%. If they want to go past that, that is perfectly fine as well. So that pretty much sums up IXL. Now parents, you don't have a parent login, but if ever you want to be able to access your students' information, all you have to do is log in as them. You can ask them for their password. If you use their device and they've said, remember me, then you should be able to access that. If you aren't able to remember that, you can always ask me and I can give you that information. Now here, you will see we are starting Khan Academy. And in Khan Academy, this is a free account. We do not have to pay for this. And you do not have to create an account the way we're going to be using this. But I do suggest that you do sign up. The reason being, it will track your child's progress and what they've learned, and it will actually recommend different topics for your child as we progress. So I do suggest that you do sign up for this free account. When you do that, you're going to create an account. It's going to ask for your email, and you can use please use your San Gabriel email, and then you create a password. And then once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and choose what grade level you're in. After you've done that, you'll want to go ahead and click on some courses. These are the courses that we'll be going through, so I've circled them. It doesn't matter if you are not in 8th grade, you can click on that because eventually you will end up in 8th grade. So these are the courses that you'll be working on over the course of the couple of years that you're going to be with us. And just getting prepared for the different topics, it will grow with you. So once you've logged in and you've created an account, it will take you to your courses. And it will suggest a starting place. As you see down at the bottom, it says 8th grade course, Algebra 1 course. You can choose to go through a course on your own. Now, let's say I'm not going to necessarily do it this way with our students, but I will ask them to click in, or I will send them links to various sections of topics we're working on. They can also search on their own. Say they want to work on dividing fractions, because we have a fraction test coming up and they want to review. This is a great way to review. They can go ahead and search. Once they search dividing fractions, it will give them suggestions. It will give you videos to start with, or if you feel you are comfortable enough, you can even start off with a practice. I do suggest that students review with the video just to refresh their memory. And then once they finish the video, it will automatically take them to practice problems. So Khan Academy, just as I said before, they will give you a course, a set of things that they would like you to do in order for that topic to be accomplished. You see in the middle with the red repeating decimals, it starts you off with 3 videos. Let's review some information. Once it's done that, then it will go to the final 2 tasks where it will ask you to practice and review what you've learned. So most of their topics work this way, whether it's video practice. And so it's very helpful, especially when you're reviewing for an upcoming test or just previewing for what's coming ahead. As you see in the blue circle, there they suggest something next, what would be the next actual topic that you would want to work on. And you can see the bars in the green where it shows you your progress for topics that have come in the past or even what you've attempted. And so this is a great tool to use in addition to our IXL program. We will be using it in conjunction with IXL. I really appreciate the videos that they've created here. So, and again, if you're looking for something for your child to work on or even over the summer, this is a great tool to use. And again, it is free. So please, I encourage you to go ahead and make an account so you can track your child's progress because they will be working in this program. Thank you again. Okay. And
All right, and IXL and Khan Academy are great resources if a student is struggling and has not quite mastered that standard. That's another place that they can go to get more practice and more experience so that they can meet those standards. Parents, it's been an hour and a half, and we have gone through most of what your child is going to be learning. As we add new things, we will add tutorials to the website so that, or that YouTube site, so that you can look there. But again, life is difficult enough. We don't want to add to that. So if there's a question that we can answer, feel free to email or to call, and we're happy to help you and assist you through that. Teachers are also going to be working to train students so that they understand how to use those materials and how to get to them. So at this moment, I'm going to open it up. If you have any other questions that you want to ask, please feel free to do so right now. All right, I think we've had a full evening. So thank you, yes. And I really do want to say thank you to the teachers for putting these videos together. It makes it much easier. In the past, we've tried to just do it here, here, here. And I know for me, it's great to be able to go off and be able to look at it. So if you're having a question about one of those particular things, go straight to that site, subscribe to it so you can find it. And as we add other things, we'll put that on there. I'm excited about the questing that we'll be doing, and each of the grades does have its own YouTube site. So as we're putting quests together and we have videos about that YouTubes, we'll upload those and we'll let you know where those links are. So we'll make sure that we get the Brain Pop information to you parents. And then just real quick, we are going to be using in language arts ReadWorks and Newsela or Newsela. And those are free resources that have articles for students, and they're actually leveled. So you can read the same article, but it could be at a 3rd grade level, at a 5th grade level, at a 7th grade level. It's great information. And parents, one of the most important things you can do for your child is have them read. Reading is tied to one of the #1 most impactful activities you can do to help your child to be successful. So I know that it's easy to be on video games and we're on the screen a lot, but please, I do encourage, have your child read a book. Set a time aside where they get to do that. Read articles. They can even go and read articles about things that they're interested in. And then also another important thing for them is to be doing something with their hands, to pick up a hobby, not with the game controller, but to cooking, crocheting, building models, playing ping pong. There really is a connection about working with your hands in 3 dimensions. You can tell them that helping you wash the dishes or vacuum is just as valuable too. Get them to help you with that, but it really does develop the frontal lobe. And so I want to encourage as much activity beyond just sitting at a screen. And we really will try to provide those opportunities too for your students. Thank you so much for all that you have done and for your support. And again, please call us if you have more questions. There was some difficulty getting students into the band class today, but I think we figured that problem out. So there shouldn't be a problem, but if there is, give us a call and we'll work with you on that. All right. Mrs. O, can you say a prayer for us? Did you want to, teachers, is there anything else you want to share before we leave?
Actually, I do, if that's possible.
Sure.
After you were speaking about having something to do with their hands, I actually have dry erase boards that are graph dry erase boards that our students are going to be using this year. And along with that is a bag of goodies that I'm going to be using in math class. The kids were asking me about them because there's things like Play-Doh and all kinds of other fun stuff in there. We are going to be using those in math class. So if you have a chance, if you could please swing by the school this week and pick those up so your student is ready for next week. We hope to implement them. If enough students have picked them up, I would like to start incorporating some of those activities next week. So I would do, yes, if you could really do that, but we have some fun stuff planned for them.
Thank you, Mrs. O. And someone asked if it's possible to have a Zoom meeting. We do want to have more regularly so that we can keep you informed as to what's going on and answer questions that you might have. So we're definitely going to be looking at that. So thank you very much for that suggestion. All right, Mrs. O, will you, any other questions? And then we'll close out with prayer. Okay. Mrs. O, thank you.
All right, let's bow our heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for today, and we thank you for being with all of our families here, all of our students, and all of our staff. We ask that you be with us as we enter a new school year. Help us that we can work together so that we can make the best learning experience for our students. We ask that you also please care for each of our families and also their extended families. We are in very strange times, and it's sometimes difficult in the situation that we're in, but we ask that you help us to support one another and also to work with one another to make the best of long distance away so that we can be rejoiceful when we return back to school. And we ask that you just continue to be with us and guide us as we go throughout this process. I thank you for all that you've given us, and we thank you so much for an opportunity to be together. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mrs. O. Thank you, everyone. We are having a back to school night for elementary students, K to 5. And we will be talking about standards-based grading at the beginning. I will be giving a very similar presentation. So if you have a lower elementary student and you feel like you understand what I was discussing, then you can just come in at the Zoom time that your teachers have sent to you. So K to 5 teachers are sending the Zoom session because we will be splitting up and you will be going to individual classrooms. So if you want to skip this part in the beginning, you're welcome to do that and just go straight to the Zoom. And I think that pretty much covers it. But again, if you want to hear it again and it will help you, then please feel free to join us for that as well. If you do have more than one child, we will be recording the session. So you can go just pick one of your students. Let's say you've got a 3rd grader and a 5th grader. Pick one of those, go in, have a seat, listen in on the Zoom, and then you can move over to another classroom. Teachers can fill you in on what you missed, or we will have those recordings available as well. So have a blessed evening, stay safe and healthy out there, and we are so excited to see the students back. It's been really fun to see them all online. I can't wait till we can get together in person. I don't know when that is. but as soon as we can, we will. Blessings to all of you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Nair.